Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, here to bring you part 6 in the Factory to Table series. And I've got into the point, got most of this thing built out, but I need an optic. And in order to get an optic on this guy, I need a scope mount, and that's what brought me here.
Hey, I'm Phil from Scalarworks, and we're going to be building a Leap scope mount, 30mm.
It's going to be pretty rad. This is your 30mm Leap mount, and I've been familiar running your Leap RMR as well as your peak iron sights. Honestly, one of the things that drew me to it was basically your attachment method, like toolless, it stays on there, it doesn't move, really appreciate it. What I also like is your mounts are like the lightest quick detach mounts out there. The last thing I want to do is just strap more weight to something that I'm going to go carry around.
Absolutely.
And what actually drew me to this, though, is the leveling.
Yeah.
Because that's not something I enjoy doing.
No one does.
No. So I'm really excited to, yeah, get this thing together and, yeah, put some time behind it. So we were talking earlier, basically you have, as I understand it, all the parts for this already through QC. It's a matter of getting me to assemble it, right?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. You have pretty much everything laid out for me right here, it looks like, to get this. Do you want to kind of run me over what these different pieces are?
Sure. So we've got the 2 thumb screws, 2 rings, 1 clamp, the base, 4 ring screws, the leveling screw, 2 ring hinges, pins, 2 disc springs, 2 compression springs, 2 balls, 2 clamp pins, and 2 set screws.
All right, let's get this thing together. So to get started, you had mentioned I want to prep the thumb screws, correct?
Yes. Place the disc springs onto the thumb screw shafts, just like that. And then dry fit the clamp onto the base and insert both thumb screws.
And because of the way this is made, it's all self-captured.
Yeah,
correct?
it becomes fully captured once it's assembled in the end. There are collets that on the thumb screws that grab little collars that are built into the base, and the clamp has 2 stoppers that interface with pockets in the base. That's it. Tighten those down all the way.
To secure the clamp, we're going to use these press fit pins, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yep, seat in the clamp just like that, and then press it down. Press it all the way down and make sure you're not blocking up.
Oh man, there's so many different surfaces I'm running into.
There you go.
All right, hopefully this one will go without a hitch.
Perfect.
All right, what is our next step?
The next step will be to install both the rings.
Do we start with the top ring or bottom ring?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Just
okay.
Whichever one you want, yep. Just dry fit that, slide that in there just to start it.
And we just want it at least into
just a little
both
bit.
the rings?
Yeah, well, you don't even have to. In the end, when you drive it in. Closer there for you. Put it on the little cradle, and then slowly and gently press it down. There you go. And then at the end, you'll press it hard because that's the actual press fit bit. All the way before then is, that's it. You got it.
Sweet. On to number 2.
Yep. That's it. We got it.
All right. Next step?
Next step would be setting the ring screws.
Okay.
And then the leveling screw, and then at the end we'll put in the Quantum QD guts in.
Cool. For the sake of assembly, I'm just hand tightening these, right?
That's right. Yeah.
We'll end up actually
exactly.
mounting an
This is what we
optic
do
in a minute.
for the actual retail packaging and stuff. Is we set those in there so that they don't get lost, and it's just the most convenient way of doing it.
Okay. And so we'll get these guys in, and then
Same thing with the leveling screw.
Okay. And does that go in from the top or
From the top.
bottom?
Well, you start it from the top with your hands, and then you finish it from the bottom with a T25.
Okay. And do I want to flush this out? Or?
Yeah. When we install the scope, you want it to be able to clear, so just flush it out just like that. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough.
And then from here?
Now we're going to install the Quantum QD guts, which is the ball, coil spring, and set screw, both front and rear.
Okay. This Quantum QD system uses these ball detents, right?
That's right.
And that's what allows you to ultimately not have to like have a giant throw lever and a bunch of force on there, right?
Exactly. So instead of relying on a whole bunch of torque to put enough friction in between the threads of the screws and the base to prevent it from loosening under recoil, it has an external force against the larger radius of the thumb screw that is providing just enough force that under recoil it can't actually turn. So if it can't turn, it can't loosen. If it can't loosen, it's not coming off.
So it's science.
Yeah, science. Exactly.
All right. And so many little parts.
Yeah, we take care of all that for you at the factory. Once they're in, you don't have to do anything with them. They'll stay in there forever.
That is something I appreciate, is once these are assembled, like the user side of it,
that's it.
It's so easy.
Yeah, you just have to turn those wheels, click, click, click.
I've now successfully built one of these with supervision, and there's not even like a pile of like discarded, malformed ones. From me
No,
screwing up.
this was your first and only attempt.
One attempt. But so I have this thing, and yeah, going back to the feature of leveling this, getting the optic on there, really excited about that because it's always a hassle.
Yep, you'll be able to mount this scope onto that mount level in under a couple minutes.
And the beauty, as you were explaining a second ago, though, is I don't need this on my weapon to do that, right?
It will be self-leveling on the mount itself.
All right, cool. Let's do this. I have this Selous 1-6, and I'm going to get it open and get it on there. I have this K16i 1-6 low power variable, and I'm going to go ahead and with some supervision get this guy mounted up.
We've already looked at the eye relief that Ivan wants on his fix, so we're going to set it more or less there.
And you said I just need to kind of grab a thread with these guys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just get them in there so they don't fall out as you're manipulating.
All right. And
now with two of them, one on each ring, tighten it up just enough that it will hold it in place, but you can still turn the scope in the rings to adjust.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't take much. And just check that to see if you can still rotate it.
And see, I can still rotate that.
Perfect. All right, so now you go in from the bottom on the leveling screw, same tool.
And this is
And as I recommend you do it as you're looking at the leveling screw to see how it's interfacing with the bottom. Then you just wiggle it a little bit, you tighten it, wiggle, tighten. You visually kind of ascertain that it's going flat against it.
And so, if you're not seeing what's going on, basically this leveling screw is pushing off against this squared bottom.
Flat bottom that all scopes have, as far as we know. Then you snug that down. Once you're happy with it, you snug it down a little bit more. Because now the leveling screw is going to act as a set screw. Yep, that should be good.
Is that about
Still
good
moving?
right there? Still moving a tiny bit.
Oh yeah, then keep going.
All right, it's snug.
Yep. Now it's going to act as a set screw. So normally when you set a scope in a mount and you start applying a torque on, on either the screws, you're actually applying also a torque against the scope, which forces it to rotate.
Okay.
So this will prevent that happening as you're torquing down the ring screws.
And so I can now go ahead and torque all my ring screws.
Now you're all set. Right. The scope's got nowhere to go.
And
progressively tighten them down, and then apply final torque with your fix-it stick.
Yes. These, man, I wish I had them a long time ago, having broken numerous things with over-torquing.
They're fantastic.
And the red on there is Loctite, right? So
no, it's Nylock. It's a heat bonded nylon thread locking compound, which is great because it's dry, so it doesn't it can't go into behind helicoils if whatever you're using has helicoil inserts in them. If you use a liquid thread locker, it can go behind the helicoil, and then when you're pulling out the screw, you're actually pulling out the helicoil with it. It's a very expensive repair. It's less messy than Loctite just in general.
Nice.
And it's good for, they claim something like 15 on-offs per mil spec.
So all these are now torqued to 25 inch-pounds.
Yep. And you back out the leveling screw at the end.
Just so that it's no longer making contact?
Yeah, you can leave it. You can leave it in if you want, or you can take it out and leave it in your kit bag. It's up to you. It doesn't really weigh much, but the idea is to not have it pressing up against the bottom, just in case your scope may not be as rigid as some others, and it wasn't designed to be shot with something pressing against the bottom like that.
Gotcha. And
that's it, man. You're done.
All right. Now I just need to get this on the MiniFix. To mount this, I want to go ahead and move this bar as far out as possible.
That's right. Open the clamp by turning the wheels counterclockwise.
One at a time, correct?
One at a time, progressively, so that you don't bind the clamp, since they're both acting against the same bar.
And at this point, I want
Hook it
to...
from the non-clamp side.
All right.
Just like that.
Same thing, one after the other?
That's right. Righty-tighty. And you go as tight as you possibly can to guarantee that each time you take it on and off, it will maintain the same torque and zero. Since you can only get it as tight as you possibly can, that will be your setting from now on.
All right, this guy's on there. This thing is now pretty much all put together. Really excited to top it with this collis in this mount. Really appreciate the opportunity, Phil.
My pleasure.
It's been cool, and that was the most painless experience I've ever had, like mounting a scope. Huge. That's a big deal. Plumb bobs, nope, hard pass. Way easier. And this ultimately is going to wrap up part 6 in the Factory to Table series, so join us for part 7. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.